My name is Aries. I'm a singularity. And the disposition I'm in is I'm in position in. And the dispossession I'm in is I'm in possession in. And I'm self-possessed within by my spirit, which is in my body. And I hold it strong in me. And it makes me feel alive. And I can only hold one spirit in my body at a time because my name is Aries and I'm a singularity. Singularity, look it up. Singularity is the most powerful weapon in the universe. It's a threat. It's utterly a threat. In the body, singularity is ultimately not allowed. That's why the 23rd pair of chromosomes, the sex chromosomes, are not paired because ultimately you're not allowed to exist unless you're paired. So understand that 23rd pair of chromosomes is unpaired because he has his in his testes, she has hers in her ovary. So ultimately the first 22 pairs are called autosomes, and they're all paired because the 23rd pair of chromosome is introduced at conception, and the 22 pairs before it are already after conception, which means the 23rd pair is before conception and the only one that is, and it's separated, which means it can't come into existence until it is a pair that becomes one. The two chromosomes come together and do what's called a twining wrap double helix, and then the baby fetus, through what's called protein synthesis, is created. So the fetal development starts after a DNA sequencing of two strands of a mitochondrial strand and a nuclear strand of DNA that wrap around each other like snakes around a pole. The two chromosomes become one, and ultimately that's the 23rd pair. Then they're allowed to exist, which means singularity in the body is not allowed to exist except in the state of in the third domain. And the mitochondria in the third domain are a first domain, or using the first domain as like a 3 has a 2 and a 1. And the 1 is the first domain. The 2 is the second domain. So a 3 has a 2 and a 1. So it's got both the first and the second domain. But the 1 can't use its own domain because it's a half. And ultimately all 1s are considered to be fractions and halves. The first half needs to get with the second half, which means a 1 is actually only possible at 2. Because when 2 become 1 in a marriage, they are one marriage of 2 people, wife and husband. Which means a 1 is only a half until it becomes 1, which is where it becomes a 2. And 2 1s are not 1 2, which means a $2 bill would be a marriage of 2 things successfully made, and 2 $1 bills is still a boyfriend and girlfriend didn't get married yet. Understand the importance of what I'm talking about is utterly wow, because the state of autosomes in the first 22 pairs, in your body, all your chromosomes are paired. It's the law, and the mitochondria are like police, and they go around like Nazis, and they find singularity in your body, and they kill it. Bacteria is singularity. It's single-celled organisms. All viruses are singular and cellular organisms, which means that the viruses and the bacteria, all the threats to your health, they're all singularity. They all behave like singularity. A virus behaves like a singularity. A bacteria behaves like a singularity. So understand, Aries, or I, am a singularity. And ultimately, I'm not a virus, so I'm not a bacteria. I am a singularity, which is ultimately, if it's a first half, well, it's not even 1. It's just first half without second half. But I'll tell you right now, I am definitely a $2 bill. I am definitely a 1, a whole number 1 that is incorporating a divine feminine with me. And so I would say that I am married, and I am in a marriage with the divine feminine. I've already done some kind of spiritual coupling as an Aries that has the divine feminine in a marriage. Then I am a whole number 1 and not a first half. I have the second half. It is 1, not 2, which means you'll think I don't have it. You'll certainly say I don't have it. He don't have her. Oh, yes, I do. Well, I don't see any sign that you're acting like her, or you say anything like her, or you have any attributes of her. Oh, I know, because Aries is a singularity, the most powerful weapon in the universe. That's why it's so powerful. when you have her as a singularity, it's not a plurality, so you won't try to pick out how plural she could be. Everyone's trying to say, is the plurality there? Well, because we want to see it. If he takes the plurality, we want to see it. If I take the plurality, it will become a singularity. It won't be plurality anymore, which means that the singularity will turn her into him, and you won't see her at all. In fact, you'll say he doesn't even have her. That's the sad truth, is that truly a singularity will become, in a marriage of two different entities, it becomes one entity, and it'll still be the head of the household as the husband, so you won't see her. You won't see a sign of her. Ultimately, if you watch how someone behaves, you will eventually, you'll see if she's here. But you have to watch me, and not on video. You'd have to watch me at my house doing stuff. You would see by what I was doing and saying, you'd know if I had her spirit. And ultimately, when I'm doing videos, I'm focused entirely on having his spirit. The spirit of Aries is God or me or I or the masculinity at the most powerful singularity point. And it doesn't have her in the sense that truly it acts as if it doesn't have her. So it acts as a half, even if it's in a marriage. So a husband who's married to his wife, and he is married to her, can still act like a half, even though he's not a half. And ultimately he'll say he's a half when he's actually not. Truly, you could say he's not really married, depending on how he acts, because if you're going to act like a half, then you'll act like you don't have the other half, because you don't. And if you actually do have the other half, well, it'll either push you into plurality if you are two or more, because you can be two, and then the plurality could be existing in a conflict, two entities in you that are not together but are fighting or separate or having conflicts. Understand, I don't have a problem like that, because I'll just get rid of one of those entities and I'll just keep my own, and that's also why I'll be blamed, and why the Aryan will be blamed for, you don't have her, but we all do. Yeah, I know, but if I take her, I'll be her only, and I won't have me. You don't understand spirituality? You don't understand what's going on? Well, obviously we don't. If we did, we wouldn't blame you, Aries. Oh, really? You wouldn't, would you? Let Hermes be the great god of the messenger of the gods to thank you. Thank you, Hermes, for telling us what we need to know. Thank you, Apollo, and thank you, Athena.